Hello, hello. Welcome to this episode of the Rogers Radio Podcast. I am your host, Alyssa Rogers, and this week I have the pleasure of sitting down with Trey and Amanda with W&W Security Systems, located here in South Boston. How are you today?
Doing great. How about yourself?
Doing good. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. We're happy to be here.
Yes, I am happy to have you here. And as you listen here, you probably have seen them already because you were on the podcast during our live Business After Hours event. And we were talking during that event. And you're like, I've been trying to get on the podcast. Like, you got to get me on. And I'm like, yes, I need you on. And I'm so excited that we made it work and that you're sitting down today because I'm really excited to learn more about the company that you have just started.
Yes, ma'am.
So, W&W Security Services, right? Mm-hmm. Tell me a little bit about the services that you provide and what that's all about.
Okay, let me go.
Yeah.
So we offer in-house private security, commercial, residential. We're also starting to push
Patrol services.
Thank you. And then we also do investigations.
Okay.
So that's
Dang, you get to know about people.
Yeah.
That is kind of fun.
We learn a lot.
Yes. So take me through that. I mean, this is just me being nosy here. Like, of course, don't tell me anything that you know, but like, take me through that private investigation.
Okay, so it could be anything from a spousal dispute or an affair or anything to do with a lawyer or court case. They come to us with the situation. We figure out if it's legal or not to do. We get a contract written up. They give us the information we need, and we go and pretty much investigate them. We find out where they're going, how they're doing, stuff like that. It's
and that's pretty
fun.
fascinating.
Sometimes it's fun. Sometimes it's hours of sitting there doing nothing, waiting for something to happen.
Yeah.
So if you got it's like when it gets fun, it's fun, and when it's not, it's
because you never know what hours they're gonna need, and sometimes it can be through the night, and
then that's tough because then you're like figuring things out that are not like very happy things sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Like,
unfortunately.
like are there times?
Yeah.
Are there times that maybe you find nothing?
Yes, there is. There's we have a few elderly people that have sent us down some rabbit holes.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that just seems fun. I may need to do like a ride along here sometime. But okay, and so you offer other services as well. Tell me about those.
Okay, so we're starting the patrol services.
Okay.
It's great. It's going well. A lot of places just don't have it in the budget for security. They need it, but they don't have it in the budget.
Right.
So the patrol services offers the best of both worlds. It's cheaper on the client, but they don't get as much coverage. But if they do need us, we're a phone call away. It's kind of like a on-call service a lot of times, but they do get the ride through and the checks and everything we provide for them. But it's not a 12-hour shift, man on property.
Right, and that's one thing we do try to promote with our patrol services is our 24/7 dispatch.
Cool. Mm-hmm. So like if, say Rogers, right? Mm-hmm. So we needed patrol services. So it would just be like you guys riding around the block every so often to check in, make sure everything's good. But if something were to happen, we would be able to call you guys and you would come right away.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Oh, well, all you business owners out there, listen up to this because that's a big deal in this day and age. You just don't know.
Absolutely.
Like what's going on.
Yes, ma'am.
And then, of course we have cameras and security systems and all of that, but, people are savvy.
Yeah, and there's times that you could have, power outages, glitches in the cameras. That's actually another thing that we ran across. We have someone that mentioned their cameras are not up to date as they need to be, and they're not catching all of these incidents that happen.
Right.
So the one thing about the patrol is that deterrent.
Yeah. That is really great. I'm going to have to talk to you guys after this episode on what, we can do here at Rogers because, safety is really important. Everyone knows that. And, it takes a special person to want to do what you guys are doing because, you are finding out about some things that are tough for people. You are seeing a lot of things. You're talking to people in times of need and high adrenaline. So, what led you to want to do this?
So when I was in police academy, I was with South Boston for a short period. And when I was in academy, I kept hearing, I guess everybody's heard about it, the shortage of police.
Definitely.
They can't get the personnel in. So with that, security has been on the rise, and it's not your typical, what they call mall security.
Right.
Nowadays you got arrest authority. You have some of the same powers as the police without some of the drawback. So with that being said, it's really been rising throughout the country.
For sure.
Even some places are going to private police, kind of like the military.
Wow.
I don't think there's any in Virginia yet, but just other states. Not saying we wanted to get to that or anything. But with that being said, there's a huge rise, and I learned that early on. So that was my goal once I found that out.
Yeah, and so here you are. When did you start?
We started back in February, March.
March. And so you've gotten your feet wet. What's it been like to run your own business?
Tired.
Yeah,
Tired.
Definitely has its ups and downs.
Definitely.
Some learning cues and all the above, but it's been interesting. We've had a really good journey with it so far, and we love to keep pushing forward and doing more services for everyone.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely takes a special person, too, to own your own business.
Oh, yeah.
We were just talking about it before we started this podcast because, we were kind of talking about the perception of business owners and how if you're like, oh, you run your own business, like you got it made, and it's like so far from the truth. And so did you always know that you wanted to own your own business?
I did.
Yeah?
My dad owned his own painting company, and he got huge, and then economy came and everything. So now he flips houses, which he still owns his own business. And that was always my goal, was to own my own. Wasn't quite sure when I was younger which business, but that was always my goal. I'm not one to go sit, and that's nothing against it, but I'm not one to go sit in a factory all day, and that's just not for me.
Yeah.
I'd do it if I had to, but just not.
That's fascinating to me because, and I'm very open on here about, I didn't grow up in like an entrepreneurial family. Joey did. He comes from a family that's full of entrepreneurs, and so it's very fascinating to me. Like, you grew up in an entrepreneur-minded family, and that's just what you were raised to do, and I just think that's so fantastic, and it's fascinating to me to know, like, it's just generational, and I think it's so cool that you open your own business and you're doing that too, and it's something that you love.
Yes, ma'am.
So that is really cool, and I'm glad that you're living out your dream. I'm glad that you're providing these services in South Boston because they're very much needed. And, what characteristics do you feel like you possess that has pushed you over that line to say, okay, I'm doing it?
Yes, ma'am. I knew the field area quite well.
Yeah.
Now, finances and computers, I recently this year learned how to operate a computer.
Yes.
I'm not ashamed to say that, but I grew up old school.
Yes.
But, I've learned a lot.
I've taught him a lot.
Yes.
Yes.
If it weren't for her, there wouldn't be an office. There wouldn't be.
You know what? That's what it takes.
Yeah.
You have to know your strengths.
Right.
He's got his great characteristics with the field, and I've got mine with all the finances and all the office, and we just kind of put them together, and we do really well at it.
That is so great, and it takes me back to when we first started here too, because you got to know what you're good at and what you're not, and if what you're not good at, you got to find the person that is.
Right.
And it sounds like it's really working out, and you know your roles, and it's like, okay, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do this, and it just all works out.
Yes, ma'am. And the age thing, I'm 31, and that bothered me. I was like, there's companies going to trust a 31-year-old. So I went out. I had a real good friend, lives in Roanoke. He's got 40 plus years experience in security, law enforcement, everything. So I reached out to him because I knew one of my weaknesses also was my age, unfortunately, and I'm really nice. I'm too nice. I'm the guy you can give the sob story to, and I'm like, all right, you can have that day off. So I reached out to Tom Akers, wonderful guy, wonderful. Him and Selma Ferris. She's our HR and Tom's our regional manager, but they do way more. He's an awesome guy. Yeah. But he's more blunt. If you come to him, my knee hurts, I can't work today, he's going to say, suck it up. Where me, I might be like, well, have the day, we'll call back tomorrow, Yeah, that's a weird analogy. But anyway, they've been awesome. So I noticed my weaknesses as well, besides what we had going on, and that's why I reached out to them. They have been wonderful, and I wish they could have been here today.
Absolutely.
They are wonderful.
That is so mature. Like, and I know you talk about your age and you want, people to know that they have experienced individuals that are working for them. But it is so mature of you so early on to know what you don't know, right? And to realize that, because I will tell you, one of the biggest problems Joey and I had in the very beginning is we were just trying to figure it all out on our own. Right. And it wasn't until we started reaching out to people that knew more than we do that we started growing. Yes, and for you to learn that within the first year of owning your business, I mean, there is no telling how far you're going to grow to. And that's just really great and profound. So congratulations on that. That's a big deal.
Thank you.
And so you say that you're really laid back and you're too nice.
Yes, ma'am.
So what is your leadership style? Like, how are you like the guy everyone wants to come to?
Pretty much. I can...
It's more like someone asks him a question and he's turning his head to me.
Yes, we know who's in charge.
I can get my point across. It's just I'm more capable of the sob stories.
He's got a big
individual was
heart.
late one day, when my child was sick. I'm like, oh, okay, but still it hurts us.
Yeah.
It hurts the client. That don't normally happen.
Yeah.
But I just use an example. But stuff like that where if this was a corporation somewhere, they don't care.
Right.
They don't care what's going on.
Right.
You get work and that's the end of it. But I try to be more of the family basis.
Yeah.
But
And
luckily nobody's tried to take advantage of that yet. Right. But I know one day they will.
The bigger you get, but because you know that, you'll mold into what you need to be. But what it shows me as a potential client or whoever you may be going to, the trust is there. And it's like, I truly believe to own a business, you have to be a good person. Right. And you have to really care. That's right. Inside. And so what it tells me is that you genuinely care about your customers and your team, and that's just really important.
Yes, man. It costs a lot, but I do it because it's worth it. Most companies, they go to school. Yep. They go to classes, they get their security, they roll on out. Yep. This is Tom's favorite line. He says, security is an evolution, not a revolution. So it's always evolving, things always change. Like you said earlier, people are finding different ways to do things. Yep. That being said, we have training once or twice quarterly.
We do.
On de-escalation, paper writing, everything, because I want them to know how to handle a situation if it occurs. Because like I said, this ain't like your old mall security. They see something, they run and call the law. We're actually there to take care of a situation and some of the clients. So, I don't want them getting hurt or anything. And also insurance, big deal. I don't know about y'all's, but insurance is sky high. So I don't want any claims. So but overall, it's for our officers. I want them to know. Nobody knows everything, but if you can de-escalate an angry man versus putting your hands on him, I'd rather de-escalation over.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Right. Absolutely. What's your leadership style?
What would you say?
She's more to the point.
You're just what I'm gathering. You're the organized one. You're the one making things happen.
Absolutely.
I couldn't do it without her.
I think that we both possess great communication skills.
Yeah.
We're out in the field a lot. We don't just pick up the phone and call a business. We really like to put that face with that voice and just speaking with them. We do really great. Yeah. And it's great to get out there and talk to people.
Y'all are really great at that. Y'all are really great. Like, I'm seeing you guys everywhere, and like that's the first step, right? You show up. And you are really in the community and showing up to things. And have you seen great success in that?
We have.
Yeah. Like you attend things, and I do research before I come on here. So I'm like Googling you guys. Have you guys Googled yourselves?
No,
we have.
Okay. Well, I was Googling, and I see ribbon cuttings. I see pictures from the newspaper of community events that you have been at and quotes from you. And so I think that's really great. And you just had a ribbon cutting recently.
We did.
And so where can people find you?
We're in the old bank building we're upstairs at the old bank across from the post office in South Boston. The old Bank of America.
Yep, got it. Oh, that used to be like close to our old stomping grounds, right next to the post office. It's a great area to be in.
We actually looked at that office.
Yeah. Oh man, that office. I'm about to say some things. So that office, we started in the office that's right next to the post office on Broad Street in South Boston. And we started with just 2 people in there, just, 2 people. And I think when we left there, before we came here, we had like 11 or 12 people working in that office with 1 bathroom.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, I'm talking, we had a conference room at one time, but it ended up being our opportunity center. And we just had this one conference table with like laptops all around it, phones ringing. It was a hot mess. But that was a great building to be in. It's a great area to be in. You get a lot of traffic. A lot of people can get to know you and see you. So it's very dear to my heart, that area is. And I think you're in a great one. So starting a business, a lot of lessons learned. A lot of lessons.
Absolutely.
A lot of money. A big investment. What is the number one lesson you learned so far being in business for yourself?
What would you say? Everything's a live and learn experience, definitely.
I learned not to be so trustworthy.
Absolutely. Okay, I
trust
agree
in
with that.
others.
I
Yeah.
learned that. What else? I learned it's a lot of money.
It is a lot of
stress,
money.
It's a lot of sleepless nights. Hopefully, if we continue growing like we are, we'll be able to have personnel in place to cover some nights on the phones. Because right now we're the dispatch.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm up 1 hour, she's up the next. So we sleep an hour on, hour off. So we
That
sleep most nights.
people need to know that.
Yeah.
Like people need to know that.
Yes,
On
ma'am.
top of, we have 4 children, so.
Yes.
Yeah. And one's 1 year old, so.
Yeah.
How are you sitting here right now and not sleeping?
Well, it's amazing because she actually from day one slept all night. You put her to bed at 7, she
she's
sleeps
great.
till 7. She's
Yeah.
done that since 4 years now.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, we're so blessed to have this baby that sleeps, but we got a job to work up every other hour like
Yeah,
you would
That's
for
our
a
other
baby.
baby.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
W&W is our baby.
That's
It's
right.
our baby.
That's right.
That is, that is grind, that is grit. If you talk to business owners, they're going to say the same thing about their first years in business. There is not a lot of sleep. I tell people all the time, it's like, look, when we first started, I was pregnant. We took over January of 2018, had our daughter in June of 2018, and that's kickoff to summer for us, like right in that hot season. I was answering calls on the delivery room table, and dispatching, off the delivery room table. So I totally understand the no sleep part with children but what does it mean for you to have your children growing up and watching this and being part of this?
Oh yeah, they're just like with the events.
Yeah.
When we go out there and we're involved with the community, the kids go with us. They're
Yes.
involved. They love it. And one day we hope that they can take over things.
Yes. They're just in it, and people ask me that too. Or like, what does Riley think of, you working in the business all the time? And it's like, she's part of it. She
That's
knows
right.
everyone by name, and she'll walk around here.
That's our
And
kids.
yes, and it's so fun to watch. And I still don't know how you're sitting here and not exhausted right now, because that is really tough, because a lot of times when things happen, it's in the middle of the night.
Oh, absolutely.
And so you have to be there for people.
That's right.
Wow. So what advice would you give someone? Let's say there's someone that's trying to, or has the desire to start a business. It could be anything. And what is the one piece of advice you would give them?
Definitely knowing the research behind it, knowing all the steps that you need to take in order to start the business, because you really want to go into it with it being successful. and not just jumping into something and it failing. Definitely Trey and I having each other and doing our research has helped a whole lot with the company, and that's definitely the advice I would give.
Yeah, you gotta be passionate about it.
Absolutely. It's gotta be something you truly want to do.
Yes.
You gotta love your job.
Yes. Because it probably doesn't feel like work much to you guys, right? Because you're so in it. Sometimes, right? But at the end of the day, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, there are days where I'm like, what are we doing? Why are we doing this to ourselves? But then you get up the next day and it's like, I can't stop it. Like, I just internally cannot.
It's yours, and you want to see it be successful, so you push so hard, and I love it. I do. I love it. It's very stressful days, but in the end, I enjoy it.
Yes. So, what are your current goals for the business?
Current goals?
I would say these patrol services right now. Definitely getting out there, pushing the patrol. We really want to help as many businesses as possible protect them. So definitely the patrol. Anything else you would say?
We've been trying to stretch in North Carolina, but keep growing in Virginia. We keep putting that on the back burner because we don't want to. You know, a lot of businesses, unfortunately, they go so big, so quick, they don't have the infrastructure to hold it. And that's the truth, and I'm trying to avoid that. So, but it breaks my heart when somebody calls and I need this, and I'm like, well, I'm sorry, we can't.
Yeah.
We can't. And, you know, we had a great opportunity early on. I don't even think we were on the internet 2 weeks when we had a company contact us, and they had like 30 locations.
Wow.
And they wanted us bad, and I was like, I'm sorry, I don't have the overhead for that right now. I don't have the infrastructure for that right now.
Yeah.
And so we'll check back with you in a year. So I guess my goal was to be prepared for them.
I love that.
Yeah.
I think that's a great goal to have. What mile radius are you taking care of right now?
Right now, we have the state of Virginia.
Okay. So anyone in Virginia can call and you can provide the services.
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. So I'm just really excited for you guys. I truly cannot wait to see the growth that you have, and I think that you have a great foundation. You're really starting the right way, and I love to talk to people that do that and know exactly what they're capable of, and I just know you guys are going to go so far, and I have to know because, you know, it's the question I ask on every podcast, and I need to hear from both of y'all. If you could have dinner with one living person outside of your family, who would it be?
Go ahead, Trey.
Mine would be Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan, I love that.
And I tell you why, you know, I'm a 90s kid. So
yes.
He was on every poster. You know, he told you to drink your milk. He told you to reach new limits, you know. But besides that, he went from, I can't remember exact numbers, but he went from his first contract with his basketball team. He made that one full season. That's now what he makes every 6 days with Nikes.
Crazy.
So
crazy.
So to go from a big North Carolina teenager boy, man.
Yeah.
To where he's at now, and you know he's a big business owner himself. That's only with Nikes alone. That's not his dealerships, his racing teams, his everything else.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd love to have dinner with him and see how he went from a little country place in North Carolina to where he's at now.
Have you watched the movie Air?
I haven't. I've heard about that one, and I want to watch the movie The Founder as well. So
watch them.
Yeah.
So good.
What I've heard.
Top of my list.
Right. Watch
those. It's really fantastic. Who would you like to have dinner with?
That's a good question. That I don't know.
It's tough, right?
It's so tough.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna ask this. I'm gonna ask this question right now. So we asked this question in our interview process. Our interviews are very different than what you would expect when you come into a job interview. So I'm just curious, like, what is it like because we ask it so many times and we love it. We're like, oh, we're going to ask this question. It's always the number one question that people get hung up on because they're just like, oh my gosh.
There's so many people.
Who do I have dinner with? And so, like, what are your thoughts when I ask that question? Like, dang.
It's like, do I want to have dinner with somebody that can help me know technology or the business part of it, or there's so many different aspects and people with different qualities, and it's like, who do you choose?
Yeah, I know. If
you can have multiple, that would be great.
Yeah, it's definitely a question to make you think. And now that we ask it all the time, I'll, just be sitting there like, oh man, that person would be really good, or so always think of that, and you never know, it could happen. Hey, Michael Jordan it could happen.
Oh, I've met him twice.
You have?
Yes, ma'am. Oh, yeah.
How was he in person?
Oh, he's a wonderful guy. When
Yeah?
I met him, I used to work for a pest control company years ago, and I was at VIR, like I said, Young's racing team.
Yeah.
And I met him twice there. Now, when he shakes your hand, his fingers come up to your arm.
Oh, really?
His hands are huge.
And you have to like look up.
Yeah, he's a big man. And, but no, he was wonderful both times I met him.
He seems like he would be. Well, dang, you probably will have dinner with him one day.
That would be lovely. And we can provide security for him.
Yes, let's do that.
Yeah.
Let's make this happen. We got to manifest it right now. It's going to happen.
That's right.
Well, I appreciate you guys being here today and sitting down with me, taking time out of your busy days. I know how hectic it can be and the things that can be thrown at you all the time. And I just really appreciate you taking the time to sit with me.
Yeah, thank
you. Everyone out there watching and listening, take advantage of the services that they're providing. It'll help you. It'll, help you in tough times. And it's always good to have that extra protection when you need it. And I am just really, really excited to see where you guys grow to. And thank you again.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, and I want to have you guys on here in like a year, and like we'll just talk about all the things you went through and how far you've come. How does that sound?
Sounds great.
Yes. Well, thank you everyone for watching and listening to the Rogers Radio podcast. I can't wait to talk to you next week.